Hi, this is Sive Morten with the daily update on EuroFX. I post my exclusive market overviews with the key political and economical events, charts and important levels on the ForexPeaceArmy.com forums weekly. This short video is a response to rapidly changing situation on the currency markets and should help you to stay on top of the game and be profitable. I suggest you to visit ForexPeaceArmy.com forum and read my analysis for the week before watching this daily video.
Greetings everybody. So today's Easter Monday, so some markets are closed, especially in Europe. Some are not and actually working. So today maybe we will get a bit thin trading session, but the performance that I see on the markets, on the gold and euro currency that we discussed in the weekly report is actually inspiring. So both our training plans and both suggestions have worked perfectly. So just take a look what has happened on the euro. So it's exactly what we talked about. Now let's take a look at the Bitcoin market. Here's also, it finally turns to motion. Difficult to say what the reason. Maybe some traders start treating that gold market is overextended because they do not read our analysis. Well, but anyway, whatever it is, some interest to the Bitcoin appears. So some thoughts that this is also kind of the safe haven assets still exist in the market. That might be the reason why investors also start showing some interest to this market, although the performance here, the upper direction, significantly smaller than, for example, on the gold. Anyway, here's we have its own Bitcoin own cool potential patterns, and actually we already stand in the 10 days from the one of them. On the monthly chart, those of you who watched our previous videos, this is really a very thrilling potential setup. So if market will close above the 85 area, for example, when it stands right here, we could get the monthly grabber. This grabber in turn suggests taking out at the top. Obviously, behind this pattern will be some fundamental background, because on the monthly chart very often sentiment changed radically without any changes in the fundamentals. So we will see what it will be, but currently it's already lots of factors that could potentially support this performance. And actually appearing of the grabber suggests taking out of the top, and in general that might be the continuation to the next target, because if you take a look in general the all-time ABCD, we already mentioned this many times, you could see that the BCD leg is much faster, and in most cases actually this extension was not just to the OP target but to the 127, so slightly greater than the OP. Correspondingly, reaching of the 1618 seems quite probable, quite possible here, which is around 127. So, but at least grabber suggests taking out the top. It's 110 area, 110. So, also not bad, right? So, if this pattern will be formed, so that's one of the major things that we need to keep an eye on here. Although it's still some 10 days until the end of the month. So it's not will happen this week. So on the weekly chart, I do not see something really special. So market stands in the same consolidation, showing the upward bounce. Nominal trend remains bearish here, but currently market is not ever bad. So it's really free space in both directions, at least from the terms of the overbought universal area. Market shows healthy pullback from the 75 support. So here's everything stands mostly the same. Now, most interesting and important things to us stand on the lower time frames, on the daily intraday charts. First on the daily. So the minor setup, bullish setup that we have prepared last week, you could see that now it's working really nice. So you can see market stands in the moment of the breakout out of the flag. But we called not to price this or value this breakout and set for this breakout relatively near standing target around 88, 89 maybe, by the two reasons. First of all, this is still confluence resistance, which has not been broken yet. And second, there still might be big hand shoulders pattern, and forming on the right arm still yet to happen. Although we have the same shape on a lower time frame, but it might happen that all this upper direction, it's not the shoulder and the head, but it's just the head with on the way to the neckline. This is the major actually concern right now. Whether this will be straightforward upper direction or market will just reach the neckline, complete some targets, and then will show response, starting forming the right arm. Only after that we will get something like this. So all eyes right now on an area around 88, 89, maybe up to 90 area. So somewhere in the middle of the confidence area. So on the full time frame chart, you could see with this ABCD pattern that we have considered, market completes the OP. Now stands here. Next target will be around XOP, which is 93. Well, could this target be reached, for example, here, based on these hand and shoulders, because we have the divergence that suggests taking out of this stop? Well, hardly this will happen together with the hand shoulders shape, because 93, it will be somewhere in this area, and it seems too far from the current shape. It's too extended upper direction, and it will be already the breakout of this area. So if market will keep going to 93, that will be the challenge already for possible bigger scale of the further upper continuation. So, but this target still stands on the tables, XOP, and also if you measure these swings, XA, extension to the 127, you could recognize it or suggest the kind of the butterfly here. It has approximately similar targets around 92.30. So what we're going to do in the current situation when we've got the breakout, but it is unclear what will follow. So what potential targets market still could reach. I think that we could just keep an eye on lower time frames and hourly chart. In my case, this is 2-hour chart, just to present you the whole picture that we have. And for trading purposes, for practical purposes, I think that the most important thing here is this actually consolidation. So if you have taken position, move stops to the break even, use them as a minimum target for this performance, an area around neckline, which is 88.50, because you can see that the confidence has been slightly pursed to the middle with this upper direction, and from the market it will not be the problem to stay below the previous top. So here will not be any barriers until market is going back to the tops. The barriers start to appear when it will try to break it, but until this level it should be relatively safe. And then watch what will happen if somehow market will reverse down, return back in this consolidation which has been broken. This will be clearly a bearish sign. It will be better to out on the long position, or maybe take the partial profit around this area. So just manage your position, trying to extract the maximum result from it. But obviously returning back in the consolidation will be negative sign. If market will reach this area and start coiling around, forming the tight consolidation, that will be the signal for a possible further attempt to break this area. If you will see the first scenario that market is turning down, that might be the thing that we just talked about. That's probably it might be starting of this one, of the shoulder. So as I said in the beginning of the video, that's a major concern, whether we already have kind of the shoulder or it's still yet to be formed with this retracement. And clear drop below and return back in consolidation tell you that probably we're still getting the right arm of this big pattern. Second scenario, as I said, consolidation here, attempt to break out, staying flat above this area. This will be bullish. So in this case, you could try to hold your position. That into what we have. Maybe a bit later we will get more signs, more clarity, and we could make this scenario more evident, more detailed. But for now, that's the only thing that we could consider. Inside of this minor rectangle, you also could consider some butterfly. It probably will have the target right around the neckline. So This is 127 when the market stands. If you add 1618, because our prediction was relatively fast, here to the 127, 1618 perfectly agrees with the neckline. So potentially we could even draw here, treat this as a butterfly, right? So maybe completed to the upside. That in total was what we have. Let's keep watching, but overall situation on Bitcoin seems really interesting.